Okay, well we're back on James's Lexus. I've cleaned up the top of the pistons where they took a little bit of contact, polished that up nicely, lovely and flat and smooth. Well, I say flat, I mean I've taken off the burrs that were caused by the valves. The block's been cleaned up. I do believe I've got the timing set correctly. The head's back from its skim, so I'm just about to whack the new gasket on, and we'll get this head bolted down with the new bolts and drop the cams back in. Hopefully by the end of today I might get the cam belt back on it. Well, I thought I'd do you a video for the head tightening sequence. If you look close enough, you might be able to just see that I've numbered up all of the bolts on the engine. This is just to make my life a bit easier, so that I don't have to keep referring to the sheet. I don't need to take my eyes off the job. So I'm going to make myself comfy. We've already tightened up at the first stage, which was 16 foot-pounds, which is 21.69 newton meters. So I've done that stage. The next stage now is to tighten them up to 36 foot-pounds, which is 48.81 newton meters. Once we've done that, we've then got to slacken all the bolts off by 90 degrees, and then we have to redo them at 36 foot-pounds / 48 newton meters, and then we've got to angle tighten them 90 degrees. So it could be a lengthy process. Okay, let's adjust my torque wrench. So we want 48.8 newton meters. 48.8. Okay. Oh, my torque wrench just wants to slip now. Here we go. One. Two. I so need a new torque wrench. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. Okay, that's us tightened up to 36 foot-pounds. Now we have to slacken these off by 90 degrees. I think I'll do it with my breaker bar, because it's the easiest way and it's also the quickest, and you can see what you're doing. Now if only I could find my bit holder. Oh, what have I done with it? Cooey! Oh, there it is. It's already on my angle gauge. Okay, we'll slacken these off now. 90 degree at a time. These actually go dead slack again. You could probably spin these out by hand now. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Right. So let's complete stage 3 and tighten all these back down to 36 foot-pounds, which is 48.81 Newton meters. One. 2. Ah! I definitely think I need a new torque wrench.
Maybe I should swap up the entire release calendar this week. I can do that. It's my birthday.
Oh, backache. Is that camera wobbling? Have a look. Is it wobbling when I tighten them up?
Bit.
Yeah, sort that out. Right, it's 14. Let's go back over these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I hate this one, it's always so hard to get the bit in. There we go. Oh, 12, 13, 14. Okay. So I'm confident that these are all tightened down now to 36 foot-pound. That's the third stage done, leaving only one more stage of tightening left, which is to angle tighten these through 90 degrees. So let's find that bit holder that I put down somewhere earlier. Here we go. And get our spline bit in this on a breaker bar, and we start tightening these 90 degrees in the same sequence as we did before. So, okay, reset this to 0. And whack the breaker bar on that. Actually, I think I'll turn this a little bit more. So I've got a nice swing on the breaker bar. Reset to 0. And spin this round to the 90. Always take the 90 reading, or your final reading, once your breaker bar's slack. If you find you're pulling it, you'll go past it, but bear in mind you would have started with a slack breaker bar. So that's 1. Let's hit 2. Two. Three. Number 5. Right. Number 9. Are you counting with me here, mate? Yeah? Ten. Number 11. Oh, here comes the rain. You hear that? Number 12. This one's going to be a bit tricky, tucked away down here. There we go. Right, set to 0. Down to 90. Oh, down to the way. 12. Oh, and the last one. I'm glad these are tightened. My knees feel like they're going to flip inside out. There we have it. One head sequence tightened down. I always get a bit paranoid with these things, but as I said in my other video, if you get paranoid about things, you tend to take a bit more care. So on that note, I'm going to watch this video back, and even though I had somebody counting with me and all the numbers written on the head, I'm still going to double check that I tightened all of these up properly. See you in a bit. Right, well, I'm happy with the tightening sequence, so I'm just about to drop a smidge of oil into all of these little bearings here. Do that with my finger, and we'll get the camshafts in a moment. I've been and looked at the torque figures for the cam bearings. They're 15 foot-pounds each, and the rocker cover's also 15 foot-pounds. The pulley for the cam, that's a stretch actually. That's 25 newton meters, and then 90 degrees. So that's a smidge of oil dropped in all of those. We're going to drop the cams in now. Now this one was a bit tricky because where somebody had taken the head apart, they put some timing marks on the back here. Now the darker one was their mark, but it didn't seem to line up. Turns out that they'd not put it at on the correct timing marks to do this mark. So if you look here, there's a little dot, and on the other camshaft, the two dots should line up. Where are we? Just found a dot on this one. Yeah, it's under the paint now. So you can see the white mark here has got a dot inside it, and that should line up with that dot just there, so they make a pair. Okay, so we're going to get these cams in now. Right, there's my dot. Let's get this camshaft in. It's probably about there. There we go. Right, now join the dots. Quite, I haven't done that since I was a little boy. There we go. They're lined up. They don't particularly stay put, but as long as they don't slip, it'll be okay. Right. Now all of these little bearings we have to put back in are numbered. So if you look on the top of this, you can see an E2. Now E1 is actually the main front cover there. So that there is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they're also numbered on this side. So we'll go up there in a moment and get these in. I do believe the arrow faces towards the front of the engine, or at least that's how they come off. So 1, 7. Okay. Now I do believe there's actually a tightening sequence to these, so we'll go with how we did the cylinder head. We'll just use the same numbers. Now we're going to tighten these down by hand progressively. So we'll start at this end just to get it on. The dots are still lining up.
Exclusives per episode. Maybe even 3. But it's my birthday, so I'm doubling that number. Here's Gamber's new smash. This is the end with David Spector on the vocals. If I could, I'd never let you go. My heart's fighting my conscience. You don't deserve the spotlight. You pull down my heart.
You must always make sure that when you're dropping these cams back in, you've got it on its timing marks. Now the timing marks on this engine, they're actually really nice, safe marks. So when it comes to changing the belt and you've got it set on its marks, you'll find that none of the pistons are at the top. So there's no risk of the valves hitting the pistons should the timing slip whilst you've got the belt off or anything like that, which is quite handy actually. There are 2 sets of marks. Now on the bottom pulley you use the most clockwise mark on the belt pulley itself, not the cam belt pulley but the aux belt pulley. There's 2 little V's cut out in that, so you use the right hand mark on that, and on the cam pulley itself you use the dot and not line. Right, let's start getting these down properly now. never just jump in and tighten these from one end to the other. You need to bring the cam down slowly, as to not cause any stress through the bearings themselves, because you don't want to crack them. Now this end of the cam's almost down, so I'm going to work our way back a little bit at a time. Oh, my hands are going numb now. I might appear to be doing these up with a ratchet, but these are no more than hand tight. We'll do the proper tightening with a torque wrench in a moment, once we've got the inlet cam down. Okay. Oh, I wanted that. Do you want a magnet? Manage. Thanks, mate. My knees feel like I'm gonna snap. I need to build like a little platform so I can hover above cars whilst I'm working on them. Hey, there's an idea. Nice scaffolders. Yeah. You have a platform on wheels, please. Be no good even on a ramp. Still so far to lean in to get to the back bolts. Right. Oh, I think I'm getting old. Now, I've got written down that these bearings need to be tightened up to 15 foot-pound. That's really not much good to me because my torque wrench does inch-pound and then it does newton meters. So let's go and convert this quickly. It's on this phone, so I'll be back in a mo. Right, well I've set my torque wrench up. We're at 20.3 newton meters, which equates to 15 foot-pound. I'm going to go around now and tighten up these cam bearings in a pretty similar sequence to what we did the head gasket. let's see how much my my wrench slips, shall we? So need to work to the right of the numbers. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope, wrong cam. 9, 10, 11. That's odd. Oh no, 11's there, isn't it? Right, let's go back round then. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 are actually the cover, so we'll do that one and then that one. Lovely stuff. Right, same again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where have I missed one out here, haven't I? Did the lights just dim? Or was that my torch? Joys have been in the sticks, eh? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey up, this ain't right. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, come on, torch wrench. 7,
Exclusive time. Nope.
8,
It's exclusive time.
9,
Number 3. Exclusive time. No, I'm gonna do a more subtle chill tone.
them cows out there are driving me potty. Right, let's check all the leads are tight. Alright, there we go, there's the one I kept missing.
Everyone, this is Moshka's weekly radio show connecting you with some of your favorite artists. Hey everyone, this is Kill Harris. Hey guys, this is Connor. What's up guys, the Ultimate here. And of course, a place where individuals like yourselves can take part in a global family. Hey yo, this is Logan from Australia.
I'd like to shout out everyone who listens to Monster Cat and remind you that you're awesome.
So glad I'm here. Stay yourself ready for an hour of fresh music, and it all starts right now.
Right, so gonna bob off for a minute now, and I'm gonna clean up this front cover. and we'll get that torque down and tap a new camshaft oil seal in, and we'll get the cam pulley back on, followed by the rocker cover. Right, well, I've cleaned up the front cover and given a nice smear of sealant all the way around it. Looks a bit messy, but it'll ooze out once it's on. We don't care what that looks like. It's practicality over aesthetics, really. So I do believe this goes in with a little bit of a tap. There we go. That's one end in, and there's the other lined up. So I'll tighten up these by hand, and then we'll torque them down. Where's that little wrench? There we go. Okay, so we're going to tighten these down now, but we'll try and bring it all down flush. Make sure it's square when it comes down. There we go. Nice bit of sealant oozing out, not too much, just enough. Alright, now I believe I need a ratchet spanner. Oh, it's not there. There it is. Oh, I can't even get a ratchet spanner on that one. Oh yeah, Glenn Miller's gone walkies. Oh, that's extremely helpful, isn't it? I can't find my 10mm spanner. Well, let's take one out of this toolkit there. It's not there, is it? Hey! There we go. So this bolt here, you're not going to be able to get a torque wrench on it, so I think it's going to be a well-established guess on how tight. This is the same setting, same torque setting as the bearings, and so is the entire cover actually. So this is 15 Newton meters, which equates to 20.3 Newton meters. Oh, slippy torque wrench again. Really must get another one of these. Perhaps I'll give Rose Autos a ring tomorrow and see what they can do one for. Yeah. Double check these two. Yep. 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 Okay. Well, can't remember whether we need to put this back on just yet, or we'll keep it out of the way. So I'm just going to give the rocker cover a quick wipe down, and might give that a light smear of sealant, and we'll get the rocker cover on just so that we don't have anything landing inside the engine. I think first I'm going to turn that compressor off because it's no longer needed. Okay.
Featuring Dutch Rotten and retro track played out. Next up, we're going to drop a full preview of Contagious by Grant featuring Run right here on Monster Cat called Wild.
No, we're not going to bother with sealant on this. It's got a nice rubber gasket sitting around it. Not exactly the hardest thing to change if we have to do it again in the future. It's worth noting whilst doing this cylinder head that there's a small coolant manifold down the back of the engine. It's an absolute nightmare to get at, so before you bolt your head down, always try and get that on, and then worry about the tightening sequences, just because it's such a pain in the backside once the rocker cover's back on. If you haven't got it lined up on its studs, then you're just going to hit more problems. So let's tighten down this rocker cover. We'll get the bolts in. And there's one that hides right down the back there. Okay. Oh, hang on a minute here. That was a bit schoolboy, isn't it? I need to put the cam pulley on first. There's a bonnet there. Come on, you head, Fred. Okay. Now we're going to torque these down again. 15 foot-pound. Okay. Can I get on the rear one? without an extension. Yes, I can. Am I going to click today or what? What's going on here then? Try this one. That's an odd one. I think my torque wrench has given up ours.
You won.
Yeah. Didn't want to click out on these, so I think I'll get Rosie's to send me a new one out. I'm gonna double check all these before the car leaves. Right, so I'm going to go and compress the cam belt tension and now in the vise. I'm going to pin that up, and with a bit of luck we can get a belt on and give the engine a turn and make sure it's all okay. Right, well as you can see I've got a cam belt on now, and the bottom pulley's on, only loose, so I'm just going to whip the spark plugs out now, and we're going to turn this engine over by hand and see how it goes. Oh, seems to be phone turning my music down. Now the reason we take the plugs out is so we don't have any compression. It's much easier to turn things over, and you know that you're not hitting stuff rather than being on a compression. It's a bit difficult to notice if you're forcing the engine. So we'll take these plugs out, and the engine should turn freely. Okay, it's all 6 plugs out. Now, where's me 22mm on a big ratchet. There we go. Right, so this is the first turn this engine's going to do, and the aim of this is to make sure that the valves are not touching the pistons, and make sure everything's turning freely. So let's go. Nice and slow to begin with. Nothing yet. Okay. Alright, that's 1 turn on the crank. Sorry, 2 turns on the crank and 1 on the cam. Right. Do you mind just turning the music down for me? I want to make sure I can't hear anything touching. Thanks a lot. Right. That's lovely, that is. I'm happy with that. So put this back in its timing marks and knock the bottom poly bolt loose again. Hopefully we don't turn the engine back. There we go, did it. Now we're going to take the covers back off, and the bottom poly, and then the cover, and we're just going to slacken off the cam belt tensioner and tighten it back up. Now this has got a hydraulic tensioner on it, so that does the tensioning, but now the belt's been round a couple of times, I'd just like to know that it's tensioned correctly. Right, and that's that. So I'm going to go and get the spark plugs out of the old cylinder head, because the spark plugs are brand new, and we'll get those fitted and should be able to feel a decent amount of compression. Right, well I've got the spark plugs in, so we're just going to put the bottom pulley back on, and we'll give the engine a turn over again by hand, but this time it should be feeling a little bit of resistance, and that would indicate that we've got compression now that the spark plugs are in, which says, Chris, you've done a fantastic job of this head, and it's airtight and the timing's correct. So I'm hoping I don't have to swallow my own words here. Let's get this on. I've been a bit of a dimwit, to be honest. I've forgotten to put the crankshaft oil seal in, so I've got to take all this back apart in a bit just to do that, but that's what you get. Right, let's go. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now, you might be able to hear the valves opening and closing. Right, let's go back round to the marks, because I'm happy with that. And whip the belt back off, and we'll put the cam seal back in. Right, well it's the start of another day. I've got the camshaft oil seal in, I've got the belt back on and the rocker cover back on. It was pointless filming it for you because I'd just be wasting your time showing you what you've already seen. So next up I'm going to crack on getting the exhaust manifold back on, and we'll get the inlet manifold and everything over here back on. So as we went in the first video, we got the inlet manifold is going to have to go on first, followed by the alternator, and then the throttle body, the belts, and then this intake system here. So with a little bit of luck, I'm hoping to be done by maybe 3 o'clock with fresh coolant in there and the radiator back in and everything. So I'm going to crack on now, and I'll take a video as and when I can. So the Lexus is coming along nicely. I've got the top end of the engine built back up and all the throttle body and everything back on. I've just got a few more bolts in my tray left there, which go underneath. So in a short while I'll get the vehicle jacked up, and we'll get the brackets attached back to the bottom of the inlet manifold. So I'm just about to put the belts on, and I've got the supercharger pulley here along with the water pump pulley, and I've noticed that these bolts don't quite sit properly inside these holes. So rather than letting anything go wrong or potentially having something go wrong, for the sake of 2 minutes I'm just going to grind down the edge of these bolts, these nuts, and hopefully they'll seat a bit better in there. Right, well I've cleaned up this pile of bits here off the floor. The Lexus is back together. The only thing missing is top cam cover and some coolant, but I think we're going to go in for a start. So James, do you want to jump in it, mate? Try and give it a whirl, see what happens. Might take a while to get going, but yeah. Alright, let's give that battery a bit more power, mate. So we had a battery somewhere on the floor around here. Here we go. That'll do. Nice charged battery. And some leads over here somewhere hanging up. Right. So, positive. Are you positive? Yes, I'm positive. Right, neg. Neg. Positive. Right then, go on then, James, give that a go. Yep. Oh, look at that. Purring away. Already. Any lights on, James? Just the ABS light?
Yeah,
Alright mate, fantastic.
that's always on.
Got a little bit of smoke there, but that's usual after having the head off. So we're going to get this back on the deck, top cam cover back on, and then we'll get some coolant in. And yeah, she's good to go. So stay tuned. I'll give you a quick update once we're done. Right, well I've just come to conclude all the work on the Lexus. Coolant's in, it's not pressurising, got nice soft pipes. I think it's getting up to temperature nicely. So I've got a top cam cover to put back on and the air intake to finish off. And we can call it a day on this one. So I'm really happy with this. Customer seems happy. So let's see how it goes once the welding work's done and we take it for an MOT. So stay tuned to see some of the welding work and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching. Goodbye.